Hello, welcome to Mindful Conversations. Going to have this amazing conversation today about living our best life right now. You know, we can get so caught up in all the things we do not like. We can get caught up in the things that we don't like about ourselves. We can get caught up in all the buzz that's happening around us. Yet, often we fail to recognize, or we don't allow ourselves, or we say we don't deserve it, to live right now in the moment, to feel gratitude for ourselves and what's around us. So Divya and I are going to be diving deep into this. Welcome, Divya. I'm happy to hear you today, what you want to share, and learning a little bit about you. So welcome to Mindful Conversations today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good. And of course, I know where in the world you're from. So can you briefly, share with our audience today, where in the world are you from?
So I am from India, and today I'm joining you from Bangalore. So that's in the southern part of India, and yeah, there it is.
Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. So a little bit about yourself. And, I took a look at this underlying message you always share, and I absolutely love it because it's so in line about what other women really need to hear and what they believe. So tell us a little about yourself, Divya, and what that underlying message is that you want to share with other women around the world as well.
Well, the most important message that as a woman I have kind of learned in my journey of healing and transformation is to listen to my heart and to love and honor my heart and the voice of my heart. And I think that's the message I would always want to share with women out there in the world, that there may be various kinds of opinions and thoughts and belief systems, mindsets that may come at you, that may be thrown by the media, your family, your friends, your neighborhoods, or your country, or whichever way for that matter.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, the voice in your heart, that little voice, that beautiful voice that wants to encourage you and wants to take you forward and wants to see you grow and
Mhm.
flourish, is the
Yeah.
voice. So stick by it, listen to it, because it's going to take you places. And we tend to really, really suppress that in lieu of listening to everyone else. But that's the voice that's really going to make all the change there is.
Mhm. And what is something, that you currently do in your life that allows you to listen to that voice that's in your heart and quiet that negative voice that we can face? I mean, we're all human. We can face every day, or we do face every day, right? So what gives you that power or that mindset that allows you to listen to that whisper, that positive, loving whisper?
So I wouldn't say that it's been a one effort or one time journey. It's been a long journey of healing my traumas and wounds, and finding ways to work on my mindset. However, at this point, I think after all the work that I've done on myself, because all the change there is inside of us, so all the work that I've done kind of keeps me reminded
Mm.
that every time there's a negative thought that comes in, either from my head or from
Yeah.
someone else's, from any influence circle that I may have from anywhere, um, I have kind of trained myself over a period of time to choose the version of love, which
Mm.
means that the highest version, the version that's coming from love. Because the moment that something which comes in a lower version, it would not be for highest benefit for everyone involved, and the version from love will always be for the highest benefit for everyone involved. So I kind of measure that thought on the scale to understand, is it really the benefit for all involved, or am I just feeling that mind is trying to play with me and all of that? And then it becomes much easier to see, okay, this choice doesn't look, probably hurting someone, taking something away from someone, doesn't look like a choice from the heart. It looks like a choice from the ego mind. And then I kind of find a better version of it. It may not be immediately. Sometimes that voice takes a little bit of time to wait and that thing to arrive into
Yeah.
our life, in my life in specific. But that voice comes through. It could be through a podcast, through a book, sometimes it's just through a stranger, sometimes it's just
Yeah.
through my kids, but it just comes through. It
Yeah.
does come through.
Yeah. I love that. And it's like you said, it just comes through at that moment when you least expect it, and maybe from a way you didn't even think of, right? And I feel that when it comes through, then you're hearing that message of live your best life right now. Live that best version of yourself right now. And quiet that negative version you think you are, when inside within yourself you have this beautiful shining light that deserves to shine in the moment, that deserves to shine every day. And I'd say too that allow yourself, and what I'm hearing in your message too, Divya, is to allow yourself to find that every day. And I find that's very beautiful, because we can get so caught up and rushed in what has to be done and what I have to do for so and so, and we know that there's the timeline, the crunch is coming. And then when we're so caught up in that rush, we lose that moment of stillness, or we lose that moment in, what do I need just right now at this very moment for myself to guide me to this continue, like you said, this continuous journey, right? Because it never ends. It's this daily rituals we do for ourselves that are going to help us feel uplifted and deserving of what we need right now.
Very true. And I think as you're saying this, one message that very strongly stands out is the more desperate we are, the less it'll arrive.
Yeah.
And I have seen myself go through days when I desperately need an answer to something, and only the mind is playing with me, and my mind is giving me various things, various stuff.
Yeah.
The moment kind of surrender that moment and say, okay, I think I need to right now park this and look at something else. And then that message kind of starts to build up, and then intuition sends it through our heart. And but it's a practice, quite frankly. There are days I go completely off center and I'm so mad in my mind and trying to struggle with like, oh, where is that version of me?
Yeah.
But so the best, being our best, and or, just or being my best for that matter, or just creating my best life every day is a decision to say that okay, I may make a mistake today, but I will get better from here.
Yeah. Exactly. We're not machines, right? We're humans. Like I mean, mistakes are a part of life, right? It's whether we stay focused on that mistake or whether we see that as a learning curve. And it's like, okay, well, what can I look at in a way to serve me in a better part of love, in a better part of care, in a better part of mindset, right? And then I find that those mistakes or the failures, we tend to, what we call as failures, we tend to shift when your mind's set in a place of self-love and self-care and learning, right? Having gratitude every day. I know as we look at self-care and making it a part of our everyday life, you talked about, Divya, how it's a daily ritual, it's a daily part of your life, it's a daily becoming in tune to it. And part of that is self-care. And what's something you do for yourself, Divya, that makes self-care a part of your everyday daily routine? And maybe you don't even have to think about it, you just do it naturally because you find that it helps raise this power within you that makes you feel really good, and this vibration of revamping who you are and continuing to do self-love part of your routine.
I think something that took time to come to me. As women, we want to be perfect. I always wanted to be the perfect woman, perfect mom, everything perfect, right? Like this whole idea of being the perfect person. But I think the first thing that I needed to do, and it took me some time to understand this, I had to let go of this idea of being perfect, frankly.
Mhm.
And that led in terms of self-care for me to understand that if there was probably there was a heap of laundry waiting for me, but if my body or my heart was asking for rest, I would rest.
Nice.
So I think biggest thing that helps me right now in terms of my self-care is really taking rest when my body and mind is asking for it, because there is sometimes mental fatigue which there's no way out of it, I feel. And then I just take a maybe a power nap or just
Yeah.
lie down for a bit
Yeah.
and suddenly clear out. And the other
Yeah.
thing that really works well for me is going out in the sky and putting a hand on my heart and reminding myself that I am okay, everything is fine, and things are
Mhm.
working out. just connecting back to where we came from, nature. So it just helps me so much to ground myself and remind myself that, because there are times that I may not be able to do things which involve a lot more time. I'm just saying something that I can really easily include in the day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there are many such things of probably taking care of my physical health, taking care of my mental health, also taking care of my needs, which means, also looking at the right supplements and stuff, not ignoring my needs.
Yeah.
It's really important. So, again, given the fact that what I can do every day, I really make it a point to take rest, and I make it a point to read a book for sure. Books that are very heart aligned, not just because somebody says I must read a book, I read it, I read it because they like. And connecting with nature. Like for
Yeah.
me, looking at the sun, even for 5 minutes in a
Yeah.
day, it's very rejuvenating, very, very
Mhm.
rejuvenating.
Yeah. And I love it's true, right? When you just close your eyes and allow that sun just to shine, it just the warmth of it just fills your whole body with warmth and brings you into this relaxed state. And I say to people that even if you can't in the moment get
Mm.
outside, then simply walk to a window and look outside and let your mind just go with what you see, because those 30 seconds, that 1 minute, that 5 minutes can be so uplifting and relaxing. And often that maybe you're feeling really strung out or really stressed, but that moment you just look outside or get outside in nature, it's amazing how you feel your body relax, your mind becomes freer, your stress goes down, your breathing tends to slow down as well. And that stress kind of like, okay, it's kind of, not as strong. And now I can actually work out things, this problem that I've been having for the last hour, right? And you're right. Like even that, where you said lying down and rest, some people can't. Well, then take those 30 seconds just to catch your breath and slow down your breathing. And that in yourself, you find the shift that happens within you. Is that something you find as well, Divya, when you've taken that few moments to give yourself what you need, you just feel this something come over you that feels so enlightening?
It does. It does many a times. In fact, I think when, as I said earlier, the more desperate I get, the lesser it
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
So the letting go and the surrender becomes a very important part of this thing. That the more I want to solve a problem, I actually have to let it go. I just am like, okay,
Yeah.
right now I'm not. Let's look at what else can
Yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
rather not even do. How can I be right now? So it's that moment comes, and it's a huge awakening, and there's a lot of, and when that awakening kind of happens pertaining to anything, from for that matter, any day-to-day things that we are dealing with. But when that that comes in, it just feels like something has opened up,
Yeah.
like this whole chamber which is closed, and it just opened up, like
Yeah.
a big set of things that open up. And I don't know if I can call it like that awakened thing around. I can definitely say that I feel like somebody's opened those boxes which
Yeah.
were like closed, like really closed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
So,
does.
so true. Yeah. So true, right? Allows you to see things a different way as well. Yeah. In the morning, there's times where we lie there. It's like, oh, I don't want to get up. I'm tired. I have this crazy day ahead, right? We go through it. But what's something that allows you, Divya, to be able to get up every morning? And what is that motivation that keeps you wanting to wake up every morning?
Well, in terms of how I want to, every morning I kind of feel that today is the day that I can make a better life or better day for myself, a better version of me for myself. And when I do that, it has a ripple effect with my kids, with the people I talk to, who could be clients or anybody else. It in And then I've been identifying activities that put me in that sphere the moment I wake up, rather than
Mm,
waiting for me to discover how it would be, I've started creating those moments. So the moment I wake up these days, my first job is I go cycling, because at that time the wind, when that beautiful, lovely, pleasant wind touches my face,
Yeah.
it's so serene that I just kind of soak in the whole experience. And then the other experience that I do is right in the morning is about reading a book, and a book that inspires me. So I think I make it very intentional. The thing I'm trying to say over here is this, that I make it very intentional, that every morning that I wake up, I don't wait for something to motivate me. I motivate myself and say that I will make it a day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will make it day to day. And yes, obviously 100% of that does not happen, but at least I try to whatever extent I can. And that really makes a lot of difference, because when I give that to myself, I'm actually able to give that to others.
Yeah. I'm hearing an underlying message too, is that you wake up with that mindset that today is going to be my best day.
Yeah,
Every day I'm
absolutely.
going to do things for myself. I have family and they're important, but I need to take care of myself to be able to make the best day for them. And finding what helps you to stay in that loving mindset, right? And helps you to be able to, I'll say, give some of yourself to the people that you love, is I need to take care of myself and make myself a priority. And I'm going to do this and this every morning, because I know how it sets up my day for, call it success, call it the best way to serve myself, the best way to serve others, is when I do this intentionally for myself right now. I love that, right? I believe too, it's how we begin our morning
Very.
that's going to determine how our day is. And maybe something throughout the day will be unexpected, or like, oh my gosh, what's this going on now? This is the worst thing. But you're better able to deal with it. And you allow yourself to be able to, I'll say, overcome it, because you've set up your morning already on a road to leading you to success, or be able to deal with ever that comes, before you that whole day. And, I think I just mentioned it. There's things that happen maybe throughout our day, or maybe we're facing right now, that can be our biggest challenge. So, if you're comfortable with sharing, what's a personal challenge right now, Divya, that you're having, and what's something you're doing that's, allowing you to get through one of these biggest challenges you're facing right now?
Yeah, the big challenge I'm facing right now is kind of finding the right balance with my ex-husband, with regards to my son. So I think that's kind of a tough thing to arrive at once you've decided that you're parting ways and there's a
Yeah.
child involved, and so finding that path where there's a balance between both of us. And while it is a balance for him and me, it has to be also rewarding for the child.
Mm,
So I think sometimes that kind of becomes very tough to understand, and probably
yeah.
sometimes, there are days that he probably would say that I don't want to visit you right now. I'm like, oh my God, I mean, how do I? He
Yeah.
doesn't love me. He hates me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that starts to get on you in terms of
Yeah.
monkey mindset. But I think from there, the whole idea of love has to then kick in, and that becomes very difficult to sometimes really to center myself and to find
Hmm.
peace with it. Yeah, and how do I deal with this? I think one big thing that I have learned in this process of, uh, being a spiritual coach, I keep teaching
Mm,
people in terms of surrender. But I
yeah.
think these are moments that teach me surrender.
Yeah.
It I just surrender, because at that point I say like, okay, universe, this is something that I'm not able to deal with.
Yeah.
Show me a better way to look at it, or show
Yeah.
me a better method to look at it, and probably show
Yeah.
me the child's perspective, because at the end of the day it's all for the kid, right?
Yeah.
So maybe show me the child's perspective rather than me putting judgments on what the situation is. So
Mhm.
um, yes, it does work, because I think I've become a much kinder person towards my child now, instead of trying to force my stuff on him, saying that okay,
Yeah.
this is the calendar by which you fall. Rather than that, I allow him to be and tell him that okay, all right, if you do not want to visit me at this point, let's see when can we make this happen.
Mhm.
So kind of finding that balance. I know it's like an everyday thing that you're dealing with, but it is a little tough to go through. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And what I'm hearing too is that it's when you allow yourself to surrender, you're actually giving yourself love, right? Instead of trying to fight what you can't control, and then getting angry with yourself or feeling guilty for yourself. It's like, I'm going to surrender, and I'm going to look at the goodness. Overall, there is still is a goodness, right? And I think too, you become I'm going to say, the partnership of your ex-husband, yourself sharing your child, I think becomes more um, loving in a way for your child, right? Because then your child doesn't see both of you like this all the time. They see you still as loving him equally. And, you and your ex still, I'll say, respecting each other as parents. And that overall makes a better unit, right? It makes a more flow to a unit, and it allows yourself to still love you as an individual and realize that we all have up and down days. We all have days where we don't like ourselves. We all have days where we don't like somebody else. But at the end of the day, I'm going to honor who I am. I'm going to allow myself to go with the flow. And at the end, I end up seeing this journey that has brought me to a place of peace, almost a place of, okay, this is the situation. I'm going to take the good out of it versus focusing all the negative things and the anger. Right. And I think that's a really valid point what you brought, Divya, because when we look at relationships out there, right, there's so many that are so feeding on all the negativity, then at the end they're not seeing how much they're hurting themselves, hurting each other, or the children. So I love how you put the point of, I need to surrender myself, because the things that are out of my control, I can fester there in anger, or I can choose to go and lead with the goodness that's coming out of this, right? So
What
yeah.
helps me, sorry.
No, please share.
What helps me kind of put this together, I think every single day since I decided that I would be moving out, since that day, I always thought that the first, why am I even doing this? Because I realized I want a better life, and I would want to give a healthier environment to my child, because of, rather than two people living together and not making it a healthy environment, it's better
Yeah,
to have people living separately and giving a healthier
exactly.
environment.
Yeah.
So at every point when I am caught up in my mind thinking that, okay, this is going on, that is going on, the thing that helps me understand is what was the first point of why did I even start on this journey? I started so that my child could get a better environment. And that becomes a big reminder that
Hmm.
I am going to be the one who's going to make that environment bad for him. Then
Yeah.
what's the point of any of this? There's just no point of any of this, right?
Yeah.
And I have grown up as a single parent kid, and I know how much of negativity I have lived through as a child.
Hmm.
So I right now very very clear in terms of, as a mother, I'm
Yeah.
very clear that that's not what I would be passing on to my child. There may be things that are coming to me, but I will find a way to process them, uh, and make it kinder for my kid. I don't know if I can make it easier. Frankly, I don't know, but guess I can definitely make it kinder and more
Yeah.
gentler. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. No.
that is centered in the whole idea of knowing that, okay, am I acting from that kindness? If not, then I really need to rethink about the whole
Hmm.
conversation.
Yeah. It's so true, right? Because that environment, staying in a negative environment, is really detrimental to yourself as well, right? And your child, and they can see it. But now
Mhm.
living in a more place of, okay, I'm more in peace now with myself, because we're not no longer in this negative environment, it ends up healing process begins. And when your child sees this healing process, they see, it's not so much what you say, it's the visual cues, what they're feeling, right? And then you can move on to, okay, I'm going to serve myself in a more loving space. I'm going to serve my family, my child, in a more loving space of kindness, because kindness needs to come from our heart. And if we can show kindness to ourselves and those we love, then that speaks volumes. I love it. I love it. Around us, there can be many negative people, there can be negative situations, and often maybe we're pulled into that negativity. But then we can make a choice of, do I get drawn into this negativity, or do I say, no, I'm going to stay on this path instead? A path of, I'll say, positive thoughts, a, a spot of kindness. We're talking about kindness. I'm going to roll that in, a place of kindness. So what allows you, Divya, to stay and choose to keep with a positive mindset, to keep with a kind mindset versus choosing to go down to that road of negativity and anger?
I think just the reminder that it's not hurting anyone else, it's hurting me.
Mm,
When I'm angry or when I'm kind of involved in any kind of drama, as we may call it, it's only hurting me, and it's keeping me away from my best version and best life, frankly. The more I engage in that, the farther I get from anything that I'm setting as those goals or those visions and dreams for myself. I guess that reminder really works well. And obviously, there are days that I kind of slip on that road, and I would be like, okay, I wouldn't travel the whole distance, but I'll go to a little path, and I'm like, okay, something is not right here, something is off. And then I'm like, okay, no, 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 this is not happening, this is not happening. Okay, let's go back, let's go back.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course, it's not
Nice.
like automatic every time, but at least I make an effort to remind myself at different junctures that okay, yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Why did I begin at the first place?
Yeah, love it, love it. So yeah, choosing again comes down to choice, right? I'm going to stay on the positive mindset because I really, when I reflect in the mirror, I prefer that person. I love that person, and that's how I want to remain, is that loving person towards other people, but especially towards myself, to have that space of love and kindness and having that positive mindset versus angry all the time. So I love that. So as we slowly are drawing a close to this beautiful conversation here about, making the choice to appreciate who you are every day, making the choice to give yourself every day what you need, whether it's be in nature, whether it's feeling the sun, whether it's guiding yourself onto places of love or places of, not loving, making the choice to overall seeing ourselves in a positive space. So there's quotes. We all have quotes that we absolutely love. And what is one quote that you have, Divya?
I don't know who said this, but this kind of has caught on since I was a kid, which is I'm the architect of my own life. I think that just is summarizes what I am trying to do in my life, what I'm doing with my life.
Lovely. Love it. Love it. Love it. What about advice? You shared some lovely advice, but, and, a quick little breakdown of, what's the number one advice that you want to share with the listeners today?
I think the number one thing I would again kind of reinstate in a different way would be stay in your power. You're so powerful. There's all that power that you need is inside of you. Like anything, you can create anything from a thought to reality. So stay in your power and love yourself. You would always, when you prioritize yourself, all the good things in this world come to you, and it's not selfish to prioritize yourself.
Lovely. Love it. Love it. Love it. And if this is the last day of your life and you cannot include your son in the answer, but what is one thing that you would be grateful for?
I would really, really be grateful for my healing journey and all the teachers and the healers and guides that I've met on this journey. Very grateful to them because they've helped me through this point from wherever I was coming to where I have reached right now and onwards. So, yes, I'm very grateful for all those people who showed up. They weren't related by blood, they weren't related by law, but they just showed up. They were related by love.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I have a final question for you, Divya. Advice. What's the best piece of advice someone has given you?
The best bit of advice that someone has given me is ask and you shall receive.
Mm, lovely.
And most often we don't ask.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you talked about deserving right in the beginning. I never thought I deserved anything in life. And I think asking is the first step to asking is knowing that we deserve, and then we ask and we receive it. So That's one of the biggest advices. There are days when I'm just off and I can't figure things out, and I was like, oh, I would just ask myself, okay, what can I ask for today? And I just, and I do
Nice.
what I ask for. So,
Love
yeah.
it. Love it. Love it. Divya, I want to thank you for your time and sharing this powerful conversation overall about, living your best life right now and accepting who you are, giving yourself what you need every day, and honoring who you are, living in a space of self-value and what do I need right now? And overall mindset and self-care and self-love. So thank you very much for sharing your words of wisdom, sharing your words of love, and again sharing that overall message that women around the world need to hear. So thank you very much. And everybody listening and watching, thank you for being here again for another mindful conversation. I'm Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, mindset coach and self-care coach, telling you to love yourself every day, do something that you need for yourself every day. When you go to bed tonight, and close your eyes. What is the best thing that happened today? And when you wake up in the morning, think about or write down what you're grateful for. Love who you are, everyone, and
Thank
enjoy.
you
Take
so much,
care.
Sarah, and thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you.